Okay, I think we're good. Hold on.
1 second, you gotta do this.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We are here for the February 8th, 7 p.m. conference session. I think we need to have the Open Public Meetings Act. Is that Tara?
Okay. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meetings Act was provided through the posting, mailing, and filing of the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings of the Town Council on December 8th, 2021. The notice was on that date posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, provided to the Westfield Leader and the Star Ledger, and filed with the clerk of the Town of Westfield.
Okay, I think we have a quorum. Councilwoman Habgood is on. She's just not on camera. She's in the car. And other members like Councilman Doherty will be here a few minutes late. So thank you, Mayor. We are here tonight for the conference session. We do have a presentation. Get rid of this comment here. Let me just go to attendees. We have Jen Jarolzewski from the Historic Preservation Commission that would like to give an update on activities and happenings of the HPC. If we can allow her to do that, let me see if I can promote to panelists for Jenny. For a minute to come on here.
And just so the council is aware, under our historic preservation ordinance, every year a member of the HPC has an obligation to report to the town council and the planning board, basically the activities of the HPC for the past year. So that's what this is.
Yeah. Jenny, are you there, Jenny? She's coming on to the panelists. There she is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, you're on mute, Jenny. There you go. There you go. Yep.
Okay. Okay, good evening, Mayor and members of the Town Council. My name is Jennifer Jarozowski, Assistant Chair of the Historic Preservation Commission. And on behalf of Chairman Maria Boyes and the rest of the commission, thank you for having me here to provide you with an update on the state of historic preservation in Westfield. 2021 was a productive year for the commission despite the ongoing pandemic, and I'm happy to share some of our high points. We completed 2 designations to the town's Register of Historic Places in 2021 and initiated 3 more. The designation of the pre-Revolutionary War Cornelius Ludlam Jr. homestead at 923 Central Avenue, built around 1757, came about after having informal discussions with the homeowner, who was unaware of the home's rich history. The Burhan's home at 417 Prospect, a Victorian farmhouse built in 1865, was also nominated for designation by the home's longtime owner. We are grateful to these homeowners who care enough about preserving these historic gems to self-designate them for future generations. Tonight, the council will act upon the proposed designation of 3 additional properties: the Jed Smith Foster House at 23 Stoneleigh Park, built circa 1905 and one of the original homes in that nationally registered neighborhood. The Mills Ferris Pearsall House at 112 Ferris, built circa 1750, is one of the oldest homes in town. And the train station kiosk, built in 1893, and quite possibly the last of these original newsstands still in use. We are grateful to the town for restoring and reopening this newly relevant reminder of a time when newspapers and trains were the lifeblood of this town. Our first year working under the revised historic preservation ordinance was an especially rewarding one, as we learned the many ways that it can be instrumental in preserving the town's historic properties, even if they do not immediately go on to local designation. The primary benefit of the revised ordinance is that it creates a pause before the demolition process and has initiated several conversations with builders and homeowners regarding the benefits of saving certain properties. Among those who came to us early on was a builder who purchased 121 Effingham Place, an arts and crafts home built in 1911. Another are the young homeowners who purchased the historic Pearson home at 1481 East Broad Street, who have had multiple design meetings with the commission. Both of these homes were in severe danger of being demolished. However, this new ordinance encourages homeowners and builders to take a second look with outcomes that we believe benefit everyone. We've also implemented an informal review process, which was requested by a resident of the Kimball Historic District. This amendment allows the commission to expedite a certificate of appropriateness for minor work involving non-relevant items by creating the appointment of an expedited review officer to act in place of the full commission without holding a public hearing. Another highlight of 2021 was the arrival of our historic preservation officer, Barton Ross. Mr. Ross is highly credentialed as a licensed historic architect who has consulted on planning and historic preservation matters with many New Jersey municipalities, including Cape May, Montclair, Millburn, Scotch Plains, and Plainfield, to name a few. Mr. Ross brings a wealth of expertise to this important new role as we expand our efforts under the revised ordinance. So far, Mr. Ross has overseen 9 demolition requests and presented his insightful findings to both the commission and the zoning office. He has also written 2 nomination reports, consulted with the town on numerous matters, and completed the application for our certified local government status, which was sent to the state for review. Educating the public on Westfield architectural heritage continues to be a primary goal of this commission, and to that end, we hosted several online opportunities for the public and key stakeholders to become informed and involved. In January, we had a virtual presentation from Margaret Hickey of Connolly and Hickey, the historic architecture firm that is helping us update our preservation plan element. Ms. Hickey presented the first part of that report, including an understanding of the value of potential districts with regard to their cultural, social, economic, and architectural history. In February, we hosted a meet and greet for local architects, builders, and realtors entitled Building Blocks for Working Together. Attorney Tom Jardim presented an overview of the revised ordinance, and we provided a PowerPoint on how we can work together to achieve sensible development within historic preservation goals. In March, we introduced Mr. Ross with a presentation entitled Understanding Historic Preservation Standards in New Jersey. He explained the basis of historic preservation as part of municipal land use law, covered the National Register criteria for evaluation, and walked us through the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation using numerous examples from similar New Jersey municipalities. We celebrated National Preservation Month in May by providing historic photographs as Zoom backdrops to all council members and town officials, along with a brief description of their scene. This made for a great looking town council meeting and sparked further interest among some members for additional photographs. Thank you for playing along, and we hope to repeat it this year. The Devlin Awards, the HPC's longtime program recognizing property owners for outstanding preservation efforts, continues to be one of our greatest outreach vehicles. After taking a hiatus in 2020, we were especially pleased to bestow awards on 11 different residential, commercial, and institutional projects and 2 honorary awards. The ceremony was hosted in October at Lions Row Brewing Company, one of the award recipients, and it provided a wonderful chance to gather in person and celebrate the property owners along with their architects and builders. Throughout the year, our communications team has been actively writing and posting articles in all local media outlets, including the Westfield Leader, Westfield Monthly, NJ.com, Preservation New Jersey, and Tap Into Westfield, as well as on the HPC Facebook page. Finally, we invite you to join us for our next online presentation on Monday, February 28th at 7:30 p.m. when Margaret Hickey of Connolly and Hickey will again join us to present their survey of the buildings in our historic downtown. On behalf of the commission, thank you for all you do and your support of historic preservation in Westfield.
Great. Thanks so much, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny.
Hold on. Oh,
Jenny, is the meeting on Monday, the 28th, a Zoom meeting or in person?
It's a Zoom meeting. I believe we're still on Zoom.
Got it. Okay, great.
And as the council probably knows, but for the public's benefit, Jenny said that the 3 ordinances will be considered this evening for the kiosk in Stoneleigh Park and Ferris Place, but it's actually because of the timing with the planning board meeting just happening last night and their need to review the ordinances, that's going to be adjourned to the next meeting of the council.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we have noticing requirements. And again, thank you, Jenny. And again, just, the mayor and I attended that October meeting at Lions Roar Pub to accept the award from the commission on behalf of the Minnewaska Playground. So another great thing for the town. We thank you for that as well. So that's good. Any questions for Jenny beyond her report? No. All right, Jenny, thanks so much for attending tonight, and thanks for giving the update.
Well, thank
Great
you.
work.
Bye-bye.
Great, thank you. Okay, actually tied to keeping the historic theme, I did send you, came in over the weekend, requests on the Miller Quarry House, Robert Wendell, who was asking about, this is their 50-year anniversary. So they actually are requesting the council to gain approval to hang a banner, not only at the Miller Quarry House property itself in the front, celebrating and recognizing the 50-year anniversary, but also usually probably somewhere by the traffic circle on the railing there. They've also asked to consider putting some banners on some of the poles downtown like we do. I've talked to Robert directly, and if the council gives okay to do that, I'll have to work with Craig Gibson and Public Works to figure out the details of the availability of the poles, and then they'll be buying their own banners to install. We can help them install them, but nice opportunity to celebrate 50 years of the Miller Quarry House, which is wonderful.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
So I assume the council's all good with that. Yes, okay. I assume that, okay, good. So that's great. I'll give Robert a letter to confirm that, and then I'll have him start working with Craig Gibson at Public Works. Okay, so on to the rest of the agenda. We have a few items to go through tonight. So under finance policy, we have resolution to authorize CFO to refund Recreation Department fees, three refunds there. Second, a resolution authorizing CFO to draw warrants or pay taxes for 2020. One resident there. 3 is a resolution authorizing CFO to draw warrants or pay taxes for 2021 pursuant to Union County Tax Board. There's one resident there. 4 is a resolution to amend an award of contract for technical upgrades at council chambers. As I indicated to you, we had a few items that we were still negotiating prices. These are alternates to the original award. So we're happy to be able to award these as well. So for some final items, and then the next few months, we'll have these items delivered and installed in the council chambers. Some of the electrical work has already begun, which is really the foundational work. So that's exciting. That'll be coming in a few months. 5 is a resolution to amend an award of contract for professional engineering services. This is an amendment to last year's 2021 engineering services. Our estimate was a little bit low, so we're amending that, and Scott made the transfer to cover those expenses. 6 is a resolution to approve Westfield Memorial Pool membership rates. This is recommendations from the Recreation Commission, Pool Committee, and Commission about some slight increases in some of the fees for 2022 for Memorial Pool fees. Note that the senior rates are not changing from what I understand. Other fees will be changing. So asking for your permission to approve rates for now so they can get the information out to the prospective members for 2022 and get them signing up. We have a very large interest list this year, which is great, even larger than last year. And we'll hear more about it in the budget presentation in a few weeks, but the pool had a amazing 2021 season and came back very strong, which is not the same kind of story in many other communities. So thanks to the residents of town and the pool staff for doing a great job. Number 8 is a resolution authorizing CFO to sign biweekly warrants for non-union library employee salaries effective January 1st, 2022. This is delayed a bit. The library board had to go through its process, and they have to first approve salaries, and then the council approves them secondary. So these are retroactive for the non-union full-time employees, retroactive to January 1st. Number 9, resolution authorizing submission of application for $20,000 in funding through the Pacng Sustainable Jersey Grant Program. This is our second year applying for this. It's for bike infrastructure and bike oases being installed in various locations. I think our application is much improved thanks to the green team efforts, and that'll be submitted. This resolution gets adopted tonight. It's due by Friday, February 11th. So we hope to submit it then and hear back. And then if we do hear that, we'll be able to do some of that in 2022. Number 10, resolution to approve 2022 sewer rates. So on the agenda tonight on second reading, there's an ordinance that actually is increasing the not to exceed prices for future issues with the sewer fee. But great news for this year, we just found out literally late last week that the 2022 RVSA sewer fee, sewer rates are going to be basically flat. So we are actually proposing here tonight to keep this the same sewer rates as 2021. So no increase in sewer fees for 2022. And lastly, Under finance, resolution authorizing CFO to make a budget transfer. Again, we continue to work on finalizing the budget from last year, which is a lot of moving parts, but we have till the end of March to do that. So some more transfers you'll see, but that's pretty much every meeting now between now and end of March, you'll see that. So that's it under finance. Any questions? No, okay. Under Public Works Committee, we have 2 resolutions tonight. First, authorizing change order number 1 for 2021 leaf collection program, various vendors. There's some ups and downs in prices based upon usage of the various vendors. And the second one is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for 2021 improvement to Willow Grove Road. Again, some slight changes based upon field conditions out there, and likely we'll have a final payment next meeting to finalize that. So 2 pretty straightforward resolutions there. And then we have 3 ordinances tonight on first reading, which I know Councilman Parmley, I think, has the heavy lifting tonight on these 3 ordinances, but I'll read them off what they are. So first is General Ordinance 2022-04, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 17 of the Town Code relating to poles, wires, and wireless telecommunications facilities located within the municipal public way of the Town of Westfield. Councilman Parley will give me some more detail, but again, it's giving some controls, a little more controls to us of what goes on in the public right away for the Town of Westfield. The second ordinance on first reading tonight, ordinance number 2022-05, an ordinance amending Chapter 24 of the Town Code relating to street openings and excavations. Again, some more information there to provide some exemption for certain property owners that reside in the home when and only when you're converting from oil to gas. And if you're doing that, which doesn't happen very often, but we thought that was a appropriate exemption. And Councilman Parmley gives more detail about that. And lastly, on first reading tonight, ordinance number 2022-06, an ordinance amending Article 5 entitled Fees, Deposits, Guarantees, and Other Payments of the Land Use Ordinance of the Town of Westfield. This comes out of the Code Review and Town Property Committee as well. Don Salmon and his staff have done a lot of research, really at the request of the Finance Committee, looking at various fees and things that we're charging, making sure we're up to speed compared to other communities and to current day prices. Also allows us to actually have zoning officer time spent on specific applications be charged escrows, which is a pretty big deal. It's already allowed for engineer and planner, but we don't want the residents of the town to subsidize applications for specific residents. So more to come on that from Councilman Parmley, but 3 ordinances on first reading. You remember, we do have 3 ordinances on second reading tonight, which is again the sewer fee, setting new rates, not to exceed rates, excuse me. 2 is the addressing the council timeframe, and 3 is a signed land use ordinance amendment, which was approved at the planning board last night, I believe. So a lot of ordinances tonight, 3 on second reading, 3 on first reading. And I think that's it for legislation for now on the agenda. So any other questions or thoughts?
I just had Jim and everybody, the green team has a slight adjustment to its request, which was approved at the last meeting. So I think at the last meeting, the green team asked to conduct Earth Day festivities the weekend of April 23rd and 24th. So the team would like to have the Earth Day fair on the 24th and then have the free market the following Saturday, which I think is April 30th, just to spread things out and not conflict, because originally we found out the baseball parade is on that Saturday, and that was originally the free market day. So just to avoid that conflict. So I wanted to make sure that was okay with everybody.
Okay. Yeah, I don't recall anything else going on the 30th, David. So I think that's fine. But I'll do another letter for the green team so they have a formal approval.
Okay, cool, awesome. And then Sunday morning, the 1st, the team wants to do the park cleanups that are always, in the spring. We're usually in Brightwood, Tamaqua. We also do the area near the Arc homes, the Arc properties, the woods, right at the corner of Grandview and Myrtle. Yeah, so that would be in the morning. I know spring fling is in the afternoon. We will pick up the supplies and just leave the garbage bags for Greg's, for the DPW to pick up on Monday. So really no involvement of the town.
Okay, so that's Sunday, May 1st, the normal cleanup day. And again, we usually just provide supplies and we pick it up on Monday. So, okay.
Yep. Cool.
Everyone's okay with that? I assume, yeah, that's normal. Okay. So I'll do a letter for David for that, for both events.
Great. Wonderful. And then I just wanted everybody to know, because I didn't know this until last night, Lifelong Westfield, thanks to Tiffany Pharmacy, is handing out 80 packs of N95 masks to seniors. So Tiffany Pharmacy is donating them. So if any seniors interested, you get 3, and you can call 908-301-1287 or email westfieldnjseniors@gmail.com, and you can pick it up at the rec department or it'll be delivered to you. So just trying to keep seniors safe.
Great.
I thought that was really nice. And a big thank you to Tiffany Pharmacy for donating these.
Great.
Hey, David, does Kim have that information? Because she should share it.
Yeah,
Kim Ford.
absolutely. I don't know, but I'll make sure she gets it.
That's great. Okay, anything else? If not, we can go to public portion by citizens. Anyone who's on the line, feel free to raise your hand virtually. We'll call on you. You can give name and address, and you make your comments to the council for up to 3 minutes. Feel free to raise your hand virtually if you would like to. We can call upon you. A few seconds. Going once. Going twice. And okay, I guess we can close the public portion of this meeting for the time being. Anyone else, anything else for this meeting? If not, a reminder, due to the Facebook Live connection issues, we're going to keep this meeting, keep the Facebook Live feed on. This meeting would then adjourn, and you could have your cameras and your microphones off until 8 o'clock when we reconvene. And just turn your cameras and phone and microphones back on during that time frame. So unless there's anything else, I guess we can get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, good. So yeah, just microphones and cameras off, and then we'll be turning back on at 8 o'clock.
Hey, Mark Parmalee, just want to make
You went off, Mayor. I'm sorry.
I guess you left.
I guess you left. Okay, well, we'll be back on for 8 o'clock. Okay. All right, so turn cameras back on and voice on back on at 8 o'clock. Thanks.
You got it.
All right, see you guys.
Okay, I think we have a quorum. We do. And we are on Facebook Live right now. So we'll start off the meeting, Mayor. We are here February 8th, the legislative session, and I'll pass over the meeting to you. And you're on mute.
There we go. Sorry, I'm toggling between screens. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meetings Act was provided through the posting, mailing, and filing of the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings of the Town Council on December 8th, 2021. The notice was on that date posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, provided to the Westfield Leader and the Star Ledger, and filed with the clerk of the town of Westfield. Mrs. Rowley, may I have a roll call?
Mayor Brindle,
Here.
council members Hapgood,
Here.
Parmalee,
Here.
LaGrippo. Here. Katz,
Here.
Mackey,
He's here.
John, you're on mute.
She's frozen.
Not here.
She's here.
Contract,
Here.
Dardia,
Here.
Boyce.
Here.
Can we please rise for a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Jim, what do we got?
Really, I'm going to make it very brief for me tonight, Mayor. I know there's some other comments tonight. So just a reminder to the residents, the first quarter taxes are due, of course, and the 10-day grace period ends this week. Just a reminder about recycling. We've had a few things in the past week or two where I just want to remind the residents that recycling has to be in the street at the curb. Had a few instances where the recycling is up the driveway or unable to be gotten by the recycling company. So again, the recycling should be in the street at the curb line to make it easy for the company to come and get it. And I want to thank Rich Eubanks for his efforts on making sure that we have the company be on top of things. A lot of construction going on in town and other utility work. So certain days or weeks are tough for the recycling company to get around, but we're out there trying to make sure they come back even as late as, late hours of the night to get it in the day they're supposed to get it. So those are my comments, Mayor, just for tonight. I know there's a lot of other comments being made, so I figure I'll pass it off and back to you.
Thank you, Jim.
Sure.
Yeah, as Jim referenced, I did have quite a few updates for everybody. To say good evening. Once again, thanks to everybody who's joining us online tonight. As a reminder, public comment will only be accepted via Zoom, and we're live streaming for everybody for viewing purposes only on Facebook. And you can always watch the replay afterwards on YouTube and TV 36. Regarding COVID, we continue to see ongoing improvements in COVID trends as the Omicron surge continues to decline. The state 7-day average for new confirmed positive cases is now down almost 50% from a week ago and over 90% from a month ago. So in consultation with the health department, we currently plan to return to in-person town council meetings beginning February 22nd, which is our next meeting. And I know we're all very happy about that. And all other boards and commissions plan to return to in-person meetings after that date as well. And as you likely heard, Governor Murphy announced in his weekly COVID briefing yesterday that the state mandate for masks in schools will be lifted on March 7th. A great step in our return to normalcy. So we're looking forward to a very much more normal spring than we've had in the last few years. I did want to provide some follow-up to information regarding criminal justice reform that I made in my update last Friday after the extraordinary work of our police department after they arrested 5 individuals that were fleeing from attempts to steal cars in broad daylight. I think we all remain grateful for the incredible professionalism of our police department that they demonstrate day in and day out and this council's ongoing support of the Westfield PD through, and grateful to this whole council for the fact that we've made sure that our Westfield Police Department has the resources they need to keep our community safe. We've provided anything from ongoing technology upgrades, hiring new officers, and we will soon have the department at their highest staffing level in decades when these latest recruits finish the academy. I do remain concerned, however, about the unintended consequences of the state bail reform law that was passed under Governor Christie with bipartisan support, which was intended to ensure that those committing unserious crimes were not detained in jail simply because they were too poor to post bail, while their wealthier counterparts walked out the door because they could. That was an injustice that needed to be addressed, and that's what that bail reform law was intended to do. However, in righting that wrong, the pendulum has swung too far. Criminals are now recommitting serious crimes without consequence. They do not fear the law or law enforcement, impeding and endangering our police officers as well as our residents, a trend that is happening in urban and suburban communities all over the state. Here in Westfield, what may have started with petty criminals taking advantage of complacent residents who didn't lock their car doors overnight has evolved into brazen acts of auto theft in broad daylight by criminals with long rap sheets, such as last week's incident where serial criminals ran their stolen car into a police vehicle, injuring the officers, luckily not seriously, before fleeing on foot. It's only a matter of time before someone is seriously injured. Because this is an issue with consequences far beyond Westfield, I have been in touch with other suburban mayors and with Senator John Bramnick about what we like to call reforming the reform, without curtailing the progress that bail reform has enabled in addressing inequity in our criminal justice system. Since crime has no borders, Summit Mayor Nora Radis and I attended a press conference in Patterson this morning, hosted by Patterson Mayor Andre Sayed, and mayors from the Urban Mayors Association from Newark, Trenton, East Orange, Elizabeth, Plainfield, and other municipalities to support their efforts to gain passage of Senate Bill S513, co-sponsored by Senators Bramnick and Joe Cryan, requiring bail for criminals who have used a gun to commit a crime. It's a great first step, but there is more that needs to be done, and Mayor Radis and I are organizing a coalition of suburban mayors to coordinate our own efforts to address the criminal activity in our communities in collaboration with the Urban Mayors Association and our legislators. So more to come. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that how conscientious we are of it and how committed we are to making progress on this front in light of, I think, the escalation of recent events. Regarding Edison Fields, I know we haven't talked a lot about it lately, but I just want to let everybody know that our Town Professionals and Recreation Commission have been compiling data and information for the last several weeks to respond to the many questions that have been raised by neighbors. And rather than responding to each question piecemeal, the Edison Fields Working Group is putting together a document to address them holistically that will first be shared with the Neighbor Advisory Council at a meeting I think they've scheduled for February 23rd. And once we've gotten their input, it will be shared more broadly with the public, and we'll move forward from there. And regarding developments, last night, as you may have heard, the planning board approved the Williams Nursery project for a 162 unit affordable housing mixed family development, with conditions that they had to apply to additional stormwater runoff and traffic management. Since I recognize the change in use of this site has been top of mind for many, I do want to provide some context about how we got here. The Williams Nursery site has been zoned for affordable housing since the 1990s. When I'm asked why it can't be repurposed for another use, which I get asked frequently, even for green space, the answer is very straightforward. Any property previously zoned for affordable housing must either maintain its current use or be developed into inclusionary multifamily housing once the owner chooses to sell. Those are the only options based upon our legal settlement. So unless there are buyers who would pay fair market value and be willing to maintain the property as a nursery, the property must be sold and developed for the express purpose of enabling affordable housing. Several underdeveloped sites along the North and South Avenue corridor from Central Avenue to the Garwood border have also been zoned as affordable housing overlay zone districts, where the same laws apply. We saw our first one, obviously, with the Elite property that's about to begin construction. And it is worth noting, though, that just because the zoning is in place for these sites does not mean that they will be developed now or in the future. The town was only required to enable the development opportunity through zoning to meet its obligations. So I've written a letter to the editor to appear this week in our local press outlets that provide a much more detailed look at some common misconceptions about adding apartments to town, addressing the background and affordable housing requirements, as well as the potential impact on schools, town services, and our small town charm. So please be on the lookout, and I'll be sharing it broadly because I think it's necessary context, and I think it's important that everybody has the facts. Now, I do recognize there are very legitimate concerns about the impact of new development, particularly on traffic and congestion and stormwater too. I share these concerns, as do the mayors of neighboring towns. And collectively, we do recognize that our planning is interrelated. Development in one town will impact mobility and circulation in other towns along the corridor. To that end, I've established the first mayor's, what we're calling the Mayor's Mobility Coalition. It's comprised of myself and the mayors of Cranford, Garwood, Fanwood, and Scotch Plains. We are working together to mitigate traffic and congestion challenges that proposed new development may bring, because it is happening in every single one of our towns, focusing on the North and South Avenue corridors. Specifically, we are working to secure county and state grants to assist in developing a mobility and circulation plan for the entire corridor, prioritizing safer streets and enhanced bike, pedestrian, and vehicular access. So I'll keep you posted on that, but we're very excited about the opportunity for us to all work together. There's a few updates on the finance side that I'm going to hand over to Councilman Hapgood to deliver.
Thank you, Mayor. I thought everyone might like to hear a little bit of an update on how the budget process is going. We are in the thick of it, I would say. We've already met with 7 different departments, and we are over the next couple of weeks going to finish up meeting with the remaining departments as we continue to look at the budget overall. I wanted to thank those in the public who took the time to attend the January meeting that we're holding now annually to take a look at the last year's budget, obviously in this case 2021, provide a bit of a preview as to what we're going to be facing in the 2022 budget, and then also providing inputs to those of us on the Finance Policy Committee as to things that they would like to be considered for the budget as we start formulating it. In that meeting, we communicated to everyone that we did quite well in 2021, in large part due to reserves, our healthy tax collections, thank you everyone, and necessary budget reductions that we made in 2020 to position the town for success in 2021 and beyond. Importantly, in this challenging environment that we've been facing over the last 2 years, we generated $3.6 million back in surplus, $1 million more than we've generated in the prior year, to end 2021 with a $9.4 million surplus balance. So in case you missed the presentation, it is up on the website at westfieldnj.gov/2022-budget. And if you have any comments or things that you'd like to consider, we have an email address opened up to the public and invite everyone to comment at budget@westfieldnj.gov. And then I also wanted to just quickly say that tonight we're going to be voting on the sewer fees. We're very happy to report that the Raleigh Valley Sewerage Authority is not going to be increasing our rates this year. And so we're going to be holding our rates to residents at the same level. If you've looked at the ordinance that we're passing on second reading tonight, it shows higher rates, but those are looking forward into the future. Those are not to exceed rates that give us flexibility as we move forward into 2023 and beyond. The new rates that we're approving are updated ones because we haven't actually approved new not to exceed rates since 2014. Thank you all for updates, and please send any comments to budget@westfieldnj.gov.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And now I'm going to flip it to our chair of our Code Review and Town Property Committee, Councilman Mark Parmalee.
Thanks, Mayor. Just a few things on the table tonight, and I'll take it in, I guess you'd call it chronological order. The first thing we're going to be doing is voting on second reading, the public comment ordinance. So tonight we're gonna hear on that. This ordinance is it amends the public comment time from 10 minutes to 5 minutes. As I mentioned at the last meeting a couple of weeks ago, it's the intention of the amendment to create an opportunity for as many members of the public to speak as possible, especially as we review topics of importance that draw high levels of community engagement, like Edison Fields and Westfield Crossing, for example. We're glad to see that the majority of the feedback on this ordinance has been very positive. And I'd say that includes our paper of record, the Westfield Leader, as we align our public comment time to be consistent with all but one other Union County municipality, and basically almost all of other New Jersey's municipalities. And then on first reading tonight, we've got three different ordinances to note. The first one is a street openings and excavations ordinance, and we're introducing this tonight to amend our road paving requirements to provide residents with a more feasible and economic solution for those who need to open the road in order to convert their home from oil to gas heat. So currently the homeowner would have to pay for 100 feet of curb to curb paving. That's just as we require of our utility companies and developers in town in order to preserve our newly paved streets. This amendment allows for an infrared small patch to instead be used under these circumstances. So this is something we're really interested in, and we're going to be closely monitoring the impact of the ordinance to ensure it applies to only these limited circumstances. And if it does impact the integrity of the road paving program more than intended, you know, we'll have an opportunity to revisit that in the future. The next is a pole, wire, and wireless telecom facilities ordinance. This is an ordinance on first reading aims to adopt clear, uniform, and comprehensive standards, regulations, and permit requirements for the installation of small wireless facilities within the town's right of way. Currently, we don't have a fulsome ordinance to address that. It's also going to be better. It'll allow the town to better manage access to and the use of our rights of way by traditional utilities that provide electric, wired telephone, fiber optic, or wired cable TV service. And I'd like to thank the Technical Advisory Committee led by Mark Friedberg, also to resident David Krieger for his input in the areas of expertise in drafting the ordinance, and also the members of the Code Review Committee, together with Councilwoman Habgood and Councilman Contract. It's a dense ordinance, and everyone was able to provide a significant amount of input in it. So I'd like to thank them all for their attention on that. And then finally, we're going to be introducing on first reading tonight an ordinance related to fees, deposits, guarantees, and other payments. So this ordinance updates our development application and escrow fee process, where those were last revised in 2008. And the fees suggested are based on those charged by other municipalities here in New Jersey. And the ordinance also permits the zoning officer to charge her time spent on reviewing those applications that are before one of our boards, so that these costs aren't being borne by all of the other taxpayers in town and are instead paid by the applicant. And so many thanks in this instance to Don Samet for all of his hard work on that ordinance as well. And that's all I have for tonight.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a wrap for comments. So let's get on to work. Mrs. Rowley, do we have any advertised hearings?
Yes, Mayor, there are 3 advertised hearings tonight. The first is General Ordinance number 2022-01, an ordinance to amend the code of the town of Westfield, Chapter 20. Anyone wishing to be heard on General Ordinance number 2022-01, please virtually raise your hand to make your comment. Be sure to include your name and address for the record.
Again, you raise your hand virtually if you want to speak. Seeing none, Mayor, you may close the hearing.
This hearing is closed.
Next is General Ordinance number 2022-02, an ordinance to amend the section of the code of the town of Westfield regarding addressing council. Anyone wishing to be heard on General Ordinance number 2022-02, please virtually raise your hand to make your comment. Be sure to include your name and address for the record.
If you'd like to be heard on that ordinance, please raise your hand. Seeing none, Mayor, you may close the hearing.
This hearing is closed.
And last is General Ordinance number 2022-03, and ordinance amending Article 16, exterior signs of the land use ordinance of the town of Westfield. Anyone wishing to be heard on General Ordinance number 2022-03, please virtually raise your hand. To make your comment, be sure to include your name and address for the record.
Anyone, please raise your hand virtually. Do we speak on this ordinance specifically? Seeing none, Mayor, you may close the hearing.
This hearing is closed. Councilman Hapgood, please move for the adoption of General Ordinance number 2022-01.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move for the adoption of the general ordinance number 2022-01 on second reading, an ordinance to amend the code of the town of Westfield, chapter 20.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Hapgood,
Yes.
Councilman Parmalee,
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mackey.
Yes.
Councilman Contract,
Yes.
Councilman Dardia,
Yes.
Councilman Boyce,
Yes.
Mayor Brindle.
Yes, this motion is carried. Councilman Parmalee, please move for the adoption of Code Review and Town Property Committee ordinances.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to first move for the adoption of General Ordinance number 2022-02 on second reading, an ordinance to amend the section of the code of the town of Westfield regarding addressing council.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Hapgood,
Yes.
Councilman Parmalee,
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mackey.
Yes.
Councilman Contract,
Yes.
Councilman Dardia,
Yes.
Councilman Boyce,
Yes.
Mayor Brindle.
Yes, this motion is carried.
Also like to move for the adoption of General Ordinance number 2022-03 on second reading, an ordinance amending Article 16, exterior signs of the land use ordinance of the town of Westfield.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Hapgood,
Yes.
Councilman Parmalee,
Yes.
Councilman LaGrepo, Councilman Katz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mackey.
Yes.
Councilman Contract,
Yes.
Councilman Dardia,
Yes.
Councilman Boyce,
Yes.
Mayor Brindle.
Yes, this motion is carried. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the Town Council Conference and regular meetings of January 25th, 2022?
So moved.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Opposed? This motion is carried. Now it's time for open discussion by citizens. Please virtually raise your hand to make your comment on any subject on which we have jurisdiction, and be sure to state your name and address for the record.
Okay, first talker, Lou Kimball, right there.
Yes, Mr. Gilday, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, so good evening, Lou Kimball, 622 Embry Crescent in Westfield. So I want to thank the mayor and the council. We're always fortunate to hear from numerous residents during this meeting, which I think demonstrates our passion as a community and our willingness to get involved and have our voices heard. So my comments tonight are in support of the proposed plan for adding 2 new fields with lights behind the Edison School. So I think we all agree that Westfield needs to add additional athletic fields to meet the needs of the residents while also improving our overall parks and recreational facilities to attract and retain new families to our town. We agree that starting this fiscal year, our town should allocate the correct funding to significantly improve the upkeep of all of our athletic fields, grass or synthetic. Our fields are in poor condition because we just do not leverage the available tools to maintain the field surfaces so that they are safe and playable for residents of all ages that use these facilities. We all agree that Westfield is a community with a long history and wonderful values. As our community was being developed, those early residents and leaders created an environment and culture we all benefit from today. Schools and recreational facilities were strategically placed across the entire town within our neighborhoods. This planning and execution created a town where our children can walk or ride a bike to school. A community where to use recreational fields, we just need to walk a few blocks from our homes. When our town was being developed, there was no one driving their children across town or to other towns to participate in any sport or outdoor activity. I'm certain that the residents during those early years aspire to have the same family goals that we have today, which is for both school and play, our children should be living close to those facilities. We also choose to live in Westfield, so when we sit on our front porch or in our backyards, we observe people walking their dogs, children running, or we hear the sounds of parents and grandparents cheering on their children playing sports. If we wanted to hear heavy trucks or the screaming of police sirens constantly or the honking of horns, we would need to live somewhere else. We also agree that there is no proven health risk for our residents in the neighborhood around Edison School to play sports on a synthetic grass surface. For many years, students of the Edison School go across the street and use the synthetic surface at Keller for physical exercise. With all the experience and diverse backgrounds demonstrated by the community living around Edison, if there were concerns, certainly that would have been called out long ago. I searched through records of Board of Ed meetings along with this council meetings, but I found that no one has ever expressed concerns with Edison students using a synthetic grass surface in all weather temperature or conditions for phys ed. As a community, we in Westfield are also confident it is safe for our children to play sports on synthetic grass surfaces across our community. We have high school students in a variety of sports using the synthetic field at Keller for training and games. In fact, our girls state champion soccer team trained and played all their home games on Keller on an artificial surface. And actually, if you checked, almost every one of their away games was also played on a synthetic grass surface. In addition to high school sports, our children participating in lacrosse, field hockey, ultimate frisbee, and soccer are putting in thousands of hours on the synthetic surface at Sidfay and Houlihan. All this use taken place over numerous years without any parents, residents, or Westfield medical professionals voicing concern. We disagree that synthetic grass fields are a threat to the environment. In the United States, we've been building fields with synthetic grass for almost 50 years. Likewise, synthetic playing surfaces have been installed in countries around the world for almost as long. I'm confident that there was proven scientific data that established the installation or use of these fields as harmful to the environment. Our state or federal governments would long ago have taken action. Quite the contrary, as communities are building and leveraging new synthetic field surfaces every day. Even in our area, synthetic surfaces were recently added in Clark, Scotch Plains, and Cranford. We do not need every athletic field in Westfield to have a synthetic grass surface. However, we do need to increase the number of synthetic grass fields in our town. If we really are a green community, and if we really are committed to quality grass playing surfaces, we need additional synthetic fields to take the pressure off our currently overused grass fields, to allow those fields to be rotated and recover during times of the year. The two new synthetic fields on Edison would allow us to reposition programs onto those fields and finally begin the rework on the grass fields that are now being overused. We disagree also that lights on the new fields behind the Edison School will significantly affect the houses that sit 50 yards to hundreds of yards from those fields. Data demonstrates there is more light pollution in an Edison area home coming from your 40 or 50-inch TV than ever will be generated from the lights being used on those fields. We need lights on more of our athletic fields to allow our residents of all ages to leverage those facilities. Whether that resident is a school student or a New York City commuter that doesn't walk off their train at night till after 7 in the evening. Council, over the past 4 years, you've been able to balance the desires of the residents you represent with the needs of the greater Westfield community. You have consistently demonstrated voting for what you feel is the best interest of all of Westfield, even if in some of those situations, not everyone in your ward might agree. moving affordable housing locations, allowing for a hockey rink, creating opportunities for a brewery and a hydroponic farm, and leveraging a pilot program for the first time. All brave decisions that you made to move Westfield forward. The adding of new fields with lights behind Edison School is an opportunity for you again to be bold and forward thinking. The project at Edison is only our first step to delivering to all of our Westfield residents more quality outdoor recreation facilities. I believe it's time we stop kicking the can down the road for more months or for more years. Edison is step one, while Memorial or Tamaqua or Sidfay Houlihan or another location should be quickly teed up right behind. The time for this council to act and to move forward to benefit the greater good of the resident of Westfield is here and in front of each of you. I ask you to let's get started and make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball. Okay, next person, we have Mr. Fader. Right there.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay. Jerome Fader, 789 Knollwood Terrace, 44-year resident. My house is behind Edison Schoolyard, adjacent to the creek, which runs across my front lawn. I want to talk about budget challenges. This talk follows a January 27th budget meeting, which is a source of my data. I want to thank the members of the Budget Committee and those who helped them for addressing the difficult, impossible task of trying to match our modest town income to our needs, and for trying to navigate the unprecedented increases in inflation, interest rates, and other challenges. The creek is a major drainage artery. It crosses my front lawn. And I was hoping to have show pictures with all of this, but it's virtual and I can't do that. But I wanted to show some of the damage to the creek. I need to cross a bridge to get to the street during Hurricane Ida. I was trapped in my house. There was a raging river between my house and the street. The river was 15 feet from my front door. The storm ending early probably saved my life. The creek in front of my house is in terrible shape. The banks are collapsing. I notified town officials numerous times, some of whom are still around and remember all of this. I was told that repair funding would be included in the budget mix, continued, I guess on several occasions, the budget mix to be considered for implementation, and nothing's happened. Several feet of my front lawn have washed away, and I always get a response, we'll look at it, but no action. Hurricane Ida brought this to a head with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of damage. I implored the town formation of an infrastructure resiliency committee, but I'm dismayed to find that missing from the preliminary budget were any allocation of monies for scoping, surveys, permitting, or any other preliminary activities that would be needed to get this project moving in 2022. The fix is going to be expensive. It's going to take time to get going, and I'm not seeing any evidence that it's even getting started. Am I supposed to wait another 20 years? So shifting gears, I looked at the numbers from the few guys from the January 7th budget meeting. I've noticed their budget reserve, the money for our rainy day fund, is gradually dropping. We've been eating into our reserves. We're making progress in terms of generating revenue, but we're fortunate if we can generate a few, $3 or $4 million a year. And in the meantime, we're considering a $9 million Edison Fields project. And I guess looking at some of the data, it gives a perspective on small and large amounts of money to consider. So the Edison Field project is not paid for. It's only midway down the list of recreation priorities in the planning study. They suggested pilot funding as a means of paying interest on a loan to fund Edison. However, taxing of new ratables was also suggested by the budget committee to help balance our existing budget without any new projects. We can't spend the money twice. And the suggestion of a pilot for Edison makes it seem like the new project is free and prevents its fair evaluation against other priorities. So in summary, let's take care of our critical compulsory town needs before taking on new discretionary projects with money we don't have. Let's get started with infrastructure and drainage problems in 2022 and finally fix the creek. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fader. Okay, we have next. So we have a number here, a phone number. Oh, no, sorry, that's not it. We have Nicole Sandstead. If I'm saying that right? Nicole, are you there?
Hi, I'm here.
Yes, go ahead. Name and address, please.
Nicole Sandstead at 550 Prospect Street.
Great.
I would just like to read a letter that I wrote to the Edison Fields Committee back in September in my support for new fields at Edison School. I've lived in Westfield for almost 25 years. I've raised 2 children here. Both children had been involved with the Westfield Soccer Association from the time they were 3 years old. My son is now in college and played soccer until he graduated high school. My daughter is a senior in high school and is currently playing her last soccer season. I fully support new turf fields and lights to be built throughout Westfield. Over the years, we have played on just about every field Westfield has to offer. Many weekends were spent at Jefferson School for fun of soccer, Memorial Field for girls in-town soccer, and of course, Sycamore Field, Tamaqua School, Edison School, Roosevelt, and Washington. My kids even got to play at Sid Fay and Houlihan, a lot of times under the lights. We've also had to travel outside of Westfield to practice and to play what were considered home games at the Glenside Field and Summit, Unami Park in Garwood, the Garwood Sports Complex and Recreational Complex, and the small roadside field at Nomahegan Park in Cranford. It's no big secret to the sports families of Westfield that Westfield does not have adequate fields. It is also no big secret to the surrounding towns that Westfield does not have adequate fields. We have frankly been the laughingstock in Union County for years. I remember vividly the Sunday morning game my daughter's travel team had scheduled at Washington School. The opposing team from Milburn showed up. The Milburn coaches, who were parent volunteers, same as ours, walked the field and ultimately refused to play. The field was in bad shape. There were dirt spots, holes, and unevenly painted lines, which were also done by a parent volunteer. It was difficult to explain to the 3rd graders why the game was canceled. They played on that field and others like it all the time. Or the game when my son was playing goalie at Sycamore Field and was standing in a foot of water in the goal. He was very disappointed after that game. How was he expected to play his best when he was practically swimming in the goal box? We've also had to share our fields with other teams to just practice. There was a time when Tamaqua School Field was closed for an entire season because it was being reseeded for grass. The next season we were able to play on it. However, the new grass didn't last long. I also remember similar scenarios at Washington School and Sycamore Field. If Westfield had better fields, wouldn't it be great if the Westfield Soccer Association could hold a tournament or maybe 2? The current state of our fields would never allow that. Why not bring people from other towns to us? Show them what Westfield has to offer. Wouldn't our downtown benefit from hosting players and their families from around the area? Westfield soccer families have been contributors to many other towns' local soccer programs. The amount of money in tournament fees that I have personally paid out to East Brunswick and Freehold and Hamilton is more than I care to remember. It would be nice to keep the tournament's fees from Westfield families in Westfield. I'm not only speaking about Westfield soccer. Imagine if lacrosse and field hockey could reap the same benefits. My husband and I both participated in the survey for the town's strategic parks plan. We listed updating the current fields as a priority. The Edison School project is a logical first step. There's a large amount of space that can be used to maximize the number of fields in one place. I understand many people in the Edison School neighborhood are feeling perhaps targeted, and the whole north side, south side debate seems to be happening. I believe that the fields throughout town need to be upgraded and that both sides of town should see new turf fields, which I'm aware is part of the strategic plan. Hopefully Elm Street or Roosevelt will be next, which is my neighborhood. People are upset not about wanting fields in their neighborhood. Those same people are forgetting that they moved to Westfield, a place that has practically every last bit of space built upon. We aren't fortunate enough to have the space of some rural towns, say in Somerset County. The town needs to upgrade the space that it does have and to keep Westfield competitive. Westfield athletes are very successful at the county and state level. The town and high school prides itself on that success. We all love to read about what town has just won a county tournament or which player has been committed to play a sport in college. Those successes bring recognition to the town, which brings more people who want to settle down here and raise their children. Huge thank you to all the committee working tirelessly on this. Hosting these meetings in person cannot be easy. This was back in September. People are passionate about what they believe in is right for themselves and for their neighborhood. But unfortunately, many times they're forgetting the way to actually speak to people kindly and to remember that everyone's volunteering, trying to help better the community we all call home. Good luck. Hopefully some new fields can be built for the future generation of soccer players and also lacrosse players and football players, field hockey players, ultimate frisbee players, and also just for the families that want to throw a ball around with their kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sandsted. Next, we have Nuno Rodriguez. Nuno, are you there? Nuno?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Yeah, name and address.
Nuno Rodriguez, 1219 Boulevard. I wanted to commend prior speakers, Lou and Nicole, for their comments regarding the Edison Fields project. I too am calling in support. I too wrote a letter to the Edison Fields mailbox. I'm not going to read the entire thing. I'm just going to read one excerpt here that I think helps to solidify the messaging and support the work that you all have been doing to improve our town. Page 108 of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan states, Westfield has a much lower level of service for multi-purpose rectangular fields than the benchmarks. 10,592 residents per field compared to 3,833, which is significant. Demand is significantly outweighs supply. I am in favor of the Edison project, and that would be phase one. And I do look forward to seeing improved conditions throughout the town. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see progress made in 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Nuno. Next, we have Corinne Baharley, if I have that right. Corinne, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. Name and address, please.
My name is Corinne Varley. I am not a Westfield resident, but I am a coach and teacher in Westfield. So I wanted to first thank you all on the council for all that you do for Westfield. And I wanted to thank the prior speakers for speaking in favor of the Edison Schools turf project. I just wanted a couple bullet points. I am in favor of the Edison turf project. As a phys ed teacher at Edison, it will benefit our large class sizes, and we will have the ability to spread out not only between Keller, but we will be able to use the back fields, the back potential turf fields. As a head high school coach, these fields could be better utilized with this potential turf project. Currently in that back field, the only team that practices on the field itself is football. Games are not played back there because to be honest, the grass is patchy, the ground is uneven, and it's not playable. I am the varsity field hockey coach, and for those of you who are familiar with the sport, it is best played on turf. The game moves faster and it is much more skilled. To be honest, it's a completely different game on grass. Playing on a consistent flat surface like turf on a daily basis can positively benefit our program. In the fall, there are 4 varsity programs that need to schedule time at Keller. With the limited daylight the fall can bring, we sometimes are unable to practice on Keller some weekdays, forcing us to practice on grass, which doesn't properly prepare us as best as being on turf would. Having this additional turf field like Edison and potentially other fields in Westfield can allow multiple programs to practice at once and play games. This project can provide opportunities to advance all of our varsity programs, not just mine, field hockey. So please consider this approval of the Edison turf fields. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne.
Thank you.
We have David Krieger. Are you there, David?
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Good. Address, please.
Hi, 728 Shakamaxon Drive.
Good. Sure.
So I'm here to talk about not the most exciting of proposals, but the 5G ordinance, which I am appreciative of, because it sort of addresses the nuts and bolts of how to operate a town and the inevitable rollout that we'll see in our town and throughout the country. So I want to thank you, Mayor Brindle, for pushing this along, and members of the council, particularly Councilman Contract and Councilman Parmalee, as well as Attorney Jardim. I just wanted to just raise a few points about it. One aspect I wanted to address, and whether it's considered in the text of the ordinance or in the implementation of the ordinance, if it is to be enacted, is just emphasizing minimizing to the greatest extent possible the presence of this equipment in residential neighborhoods. I'm not stating this because I necessarily oppose advances in technology, quite the contrary. But as the town has witnessed and is witnessing even this evening, in advocacy in several recent proposals that affect residential neighborhoods, whether it's the ice rink, the 69 kV PSE&G proposal from a few years ago, the UCC cell tower proposal, or the Edison Fields project, there's a strong desire to protect the aesthetic of neighborhoods and avoid potential health or safety hazards, or whether they be actual or unknown at this time. And as the town considers the 5G rollout, it would be prudent and preferred to keep these out of residential neighborhoods, if it has any discretion whatsoever in the placement of these. One suggestion I had, and I don't know if it's feasible, whether under FCC regulations or not, is imposing some sort of setbacks so they're not too close to homes. And to the extent there's discretion in putting in a residential neighborhood versus a non-residential neighborhood, going for the latter. And I wanted to, I guess, one question / comment. The ordinance does make reference a number of times to the aesthetic as laid out and the appeal through the aesthetics as laid out in the master plan. And I was curious how, whether it be in the text of the ordinance itself or the implementation, and I mean, inherently, these are really ugly devices. And I know that's inevitable they're coming here, but how does this comport with the master plan if there is discretion in keeping it out of residential neighborhoods as opposed to non-residential neighborhoods? I mean, what I do fear here is, if we're worried about sort of these NIMBY arguments, Tamaquez versus Edison Fields, we're going to have hyper local disagreements, as these are deployed, as short as potentially 1,500 feet or even closer apart from one another. So again, thank you for the consideration and for moving this forward.
Thank you, Mr. Krieger. We have Mr. Lemberg. Are you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Your address, please.
Yep. 528 Grove Street.
Great. Yeah, thanks.
Yep. So I wanted to also address the Edison project, and I'm glad that we're finally having something resembling a discussion about it, even though it's virtual. The previous speakers that have been in support of the project have sparked a few thoughts that I thought I should respond to that have come up in previous meetings. The first is the safety of turf. And while it is true that there is no data to support the fact that turf is unsafe, there is likewise no data to support the fact that it is safe. What is known is that it contains many carcinogenic, toxic compounds, as well as heavy metals, which intuition would imply may be a reason for pause. So while there's no data to support things either way, there are certainly known compounds in the materials that are of concern. The argument that turf's been around for 50 years, for me, falls on deaf ears, because the same argument was made for asbestos, for leaded gasoline, for those of us old enough to remember that, and for cigarettes, until they were around long enough and health issues did arise and were statistically proven to be issues. So the fact that turf's been around for 50 years, it took 70 years for asbestos litigation to start to come into play. So until there's real scientific evidence one way or the other, shouldn't we err on the side of caution? That's the safety issue was one point. The second point was on the current state of the grass fields. in town. I'll be the first one to admit my kids played ultimate, they played soccer, they played baseball, and the fields have not been well maintained, whether they're Board of Ed properties or town properties. But there's also never been real professional management put against managing these properties. There's been tremendous advance in the last 10 years in terms of both the design of fields and how they're maintained, and as well as the equipment to maintain them. But none of those techniques have ever been employed. So we don't know in this town what is possible. As I said, my kids have played other sports. They've played them all over the country. And I've seen phenomenal grass fields that see heavy, heavy use when they've gone off to play tournaments. And I've talked to many turf managers at this point, and there is most certainly techniques that we could be employing to maintain better quality grass fields in this town that we haven't taken the initiative to do. The third point that I'd like to discuss is how much incremental capacity this project at Edison is likely to bring. Based on the town's own data that was supplied to me through an Oprah, there is actually very little time that field is not already allocated to either the Westfield High School programs or some of the other private organizations in town, other than outside of daylight hours. So if you do the math, there's only about 750 hours a year per field available. That is not a lot of time in the spring and fall seasons. That's when all the demand comes. So I really question how much incremental time we're really going to get from this project versus developing grass fields that are highly underutilized currently because of their poor condition. If those fields were properly redeveloped and maintained, then I personally believe, based on the information that I've seen from the town, that those fields would provide much more incremental capacity than the Edison project for much less money. And that brings me to the final point, which is the cost of this project. $9 million for 2 synthetic fields and lights is outside the norms of anything that I've seen anywhere else in New Jersey, and just even in recent years, by a factor of 100 or 200%. And even with the COVID inflation that we've seen in the last 12 months, that doesn't account for the estimate that was made a year ago by Spiesel. So I've asked this question since the very first meeting in Edison in July of last year. Why is this project costing so much? There must be a reason, but that question goes unanswered. So I would say, given the points that I've just raised, a more prudent, cautious way forward would be to develop our grass fields to better quality for less money and see if the demand can be met. We don't even know what the demand is. We've asked, the advisory council has asked, and we have not been provided that information. So I would urge the council to turn this thing upside down and use synthetic fields as a last option, not a first. You develop and improve the existing fields, see how much capacity we get out of that for a relatively limited investment. And then and only then, if another synthetic field is needed, then we have another discussion about it. But I believe that this project is just not looking at the problem the way it should be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lundberg. Anyone else like to be heard? Anyone else like to be heard? Feel free to raise your hand virtually. Okay, going once, twice, and I guess, Mayor, you can close the public portion. You're still on mute, Mayor.
I closed this portion of the meeting. I said, it's good to do. Nobody went past 5 minutes. So we'll be in good shape going forward. So I did just want to address, just comment on a few things. First of all, thank you to Lou and to Nina and to Mrs. Sandstedt for coming out in support. I found it particularly interesting to hear from Miss Varley, who's also the Edison gym teacher and the field hockey coach. I have to say, personally, I think one of the most compelling benefits of the Edison complex is what it enables for girls field hockey. And I know that's what I found also to end up being one of the most compelling things about the Gumper Ice Rink. It's what it's done for women's ice hockey. So that is very compelling. And for Mr. Fetter about the budget question, actually, maybe I'll let Jim, he referred a couple things and maybe I haven't, you can talk about where they are with work, because I know nothing's in the budget yet because it's still early and there'll be capital projects, right? And so maybe you can talk a little bit about the status of anything related to the creek improvements.
Sure. So the work committee, it's a very long-term, very large project-driven process. But in reference to the work, we're still working on. We've been in contact with the Army Corps of Engineers, who we've determined, I believe, the town got permits from back in the 70s to build the concrete flume that is there in this area by Mr. Fader's house and others in that area. We're trying to arrange a meeting with them, which we haven't got nailed down yet, to come out and physically see the area and see what, if anything, they can do or recommend ideas for us for grant opportunities. But this is the open flume of that area is no small undertaking. Will cost, as Mr. Fader said directly, a lot of money to redo. And by the way, what is there today would never be allowed to be built today. It would actually, anything that's done there in the future had to be done differently. It's up to today's standards, much more natural environments, those things. So that's a work in progress, but I can say that the among all the areas in town we're looking at through the work committee, the Knollwood area, Flume area is one of our few areas in town that is on our FEMA hazard mitigation maps as well. So that's important to note. And we'll be looking at that. Army Corps of Engineers has been contacted. We had a member from the work committee who actually had some contacts. So it's already been beneficial for us. And that's how we got our contact there. So more to come on that. We'll be sharing information with the neighbors as we get closer to getting a meeting. We hope neighbors will be able to attend that meeting on site. And then hopefully it'll lead us to a much larger solution for that area out there, which will be very costly. Hopefully grants will come in as well, but it's a large undertaking. In reference to other issues work is working on, again, big picture items, looking for major grants, strategic capital plan for stormwater infrastructure for future years. And that's going to take a while, but it's well underway and exciting things to come. So,
thank you. And let's see. And I do want to thank David Krieger for his comments, and obviously we'll keep them all duly noted. And also absolutely want to thank you for your help in your contributions to that ordinance. I think it's a great step forward. But I think it will be evolving as that industry evolves. And Mr. Lindbergh, thank you again for your comments on Edison. A lot of those concerns that you addressed and things related to cost and capacity, I think that's something that's going to be addressed at the Neighborhood Advisory Council meeting on the 23rd. And so I think there's some information also that perhaps hasn't you may not have seen, which I think hopefully that will be a good conversation. And with that, I think we can move on to bills and claims. So Councilwoman Hapgood.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move bills and claims in the amount of $404,404.73.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? This motion is carried. Next on the agenda is reports of standing committees, beginning with the Finance Policy Committee. Councilwoman Hapgood.
Thank you again, Mayor. I have 11 resolutions, 10 of which I'd like to move as a package. The first, a resolution authorizing the CFO to refund Recreation Department fees. The second, a resolution authorizing the CFO to draw warrants for overpaid taxes for 2020. The third, a resolution authorizing the CFO to draw warrants for overpaid taxes for 2021 pursuant to Union County Tax Board. The fourth, a resolution to amend an award of contract for technical upgrades to the council chambers. 5, a resolution to amend an award of contract for professional engineering services. 6, a resolution to approve the Westfield Memorial Pool membership rates for this year, 2022. 7, a resolution to extend contract for the Westfield Memorial Pool concessionaire. 8th, a resolution authorizing the CFO to sign bi-weekly warrants for non-union library employee salaries effective January 1st, 2022. The 9th, a resolution authorizing the submission of an application for $20,000 in funding through PSE&G's Sustainable Jersey Grants Program. And number 10, a resolution to approve the 2022 sewer fees as discussed earlier this evening.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? This motion is carried.
And then finally, Mayor, I'd like to move a resolution authorizing the CFO to make a budget transfer.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Hapgood,
Yes.
Councilman Parmalee,
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
Yes.
Council Mackey,
Yes.
Councilman Contract,
Yes.
Councilman Dardia,
Yes.
Councilman Boyce,
yes,
Mayor Brindle.
Yes. This motion is carried. Next is the Code Review and Town Property Committee. Councilman Parmalee.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to first move general ordinance number 2022-04 on first reading, an ordinance amending chapter 17 of the town code relating to poles, wires, and wireless telecommunications facilities located within a municipal public way of the town of Westfield.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Hapgood,
Yes.
Councilman Parmalee,
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mackey.
Yeah.
Councilman Contract,
Yes.
Councilman Dardia,
Yes.
Councilman Boyce,
yes,
Mayor Brindle.
Yes, this motion has carried.
I'd next like to move general ordinance number 2022-05 on first reading, an ordinance amending chapter 24 of the town code relating to street openings and excavations.
May I have a second?
second,
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mayor, if I
Yeah.
just, I just wanted to say something about this ordinance
Yeah.
because this was a very hard fought ordinance, particularly by Councilwoman Mackey, going back a few years ago to protect our roads. And we've had a lot of discussion on the council about this. And so I just wanted to say, Councilman Parmalee, thank you for your comments at the beginning of the meeting, stating that we would have the opportunity to go back and look at this again in the future if we feel like it's causing too many disruptions to all the roads that we've spent so much time and effort getting repaved. So it sounds like from the conversations that we've had with the town engineer and with the buildings department that this situation comes up very infrequently, where someone still is heating their house with oil and they want to convert to gas. But anyway, I just wanted to mention because it was definitely something that I debated hard about. So
That's, thank you for that. And the one thing, Jim, I was going to mention to you is that if there could be some type of automatic notification when these permits are issued to you, so we can like proactively manage the number of these requests that are coming in, so we can get a sense on how frequent they are. Is that possible?
Yeah, wouldn't mean an automatic alert, but I've already talked to the engineer. We discussed at the committee actually about
Oh, good.
tracking these ones so we can monitor them. And he'll be out there anyway, because he has to monitor and check and approve the infrared patch. So that'll be something he inspects, or the inspectors inspect. So we're going to monitor them. And as Councilman Hackett said, it hasn't come up frequently, but we'll monitor it. And again, the council always has the ability to go back and change an ordinance anytime. So.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Can I add just one comment, just related to what Councilwoman Habgood said? I think this is a good example of trying to balance, right? So I think we all want to protect roads, but also incentivizing, not really incentivizing, but not putting a big barrier in place of converting to a better fuel, oil to gas. So that's how I looked at it, is how do we balance, two very important priorities. And I thought this ordinance did it well. And I think the opportunity to go back and look at it again, if we need to, makes it, the right path forward.
Excellent. Any further discussion? Please
Yeah,
call the roll.
I would like
Yeah,
to-
go ahead. Yeah,
So I want to thank my fellow council mates for supporting that. If they vote yes for this, it's with the understanding that we're going to keep a watchful eye. This was as Councilman Howgood sat on the code review committee, this was incredibly hard fought. And this ordinance has led to some very substantial gains for the community, particularly in the advancement of our road paving that's now being done at basically half the cost to the residents. I came to this meeting still not sure how I was going to vote for this amendment, because there are roads in this town, such as mine on Hazel Avenue, which is going on year 56 without ever having been paved. So for the understanding of the community, when this finally happens for this block in 2023, to think that it could be torn up again soon thereafter, it's just something very hard to take. So one of the measures that I'm asking for is notification to blocks in advance of paving to alert the residents that if this is something that you've been thinking of, we ask you to give consideration to do it before the paving comes. So with the confidence that my council mates will revisit this if it becomes onerous, I will vote yes to this tonight. And thank you for your work. I appreciate it, Councilman Parmalee.
thank you, Councilwoman. I think that's all well understood. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Hapgood,
Yes.
Councilman Parmalee,
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mackey,
Yes.
Councilman Contract,
Yes.
Councilman Dardia,
Yes.
Councilman Boyce,
Yes.
Mayor Brindle.
Yes, this motion has carried.
Thank you. Next, or lastly, I should say, I'd like to move general ordinance number 2022-06 on first reading, an ordinance amending Article 5 entitled Fees, Deposits, Guarantees, and Other Payments of the Land Use Ordinance of the Town of Westfield.
May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Councilwoman Hapgood,
Yes.
Councilman Parmalee,
Yes.
Councilman Katz,
Yes.
Councilwoman Mackey,
Yes.
Councilman Contract,
Yes.
Councilman Dardia,
Yes.
Councilman Boyce,
Yes.
Mayor Brindle.
Yes, this motion has carried. Last is the Public Works Committee, Councilman Contract.
Thank you, Mayor. I have two resolutions to move as a package. The first is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for the 2021 leaf collection program, various vendors. And the second is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for the 2021 improvement to Willow Grove Road.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Opposed? This motion has carried. Any other final comments before we adjourn? All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? All right, this motion is carried. Good night, everybody. We'll see you in person on the 22nd. This meeting is adjourned.
Good night. Bye.
Thanks,
Good
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Well done, Tara.